Until Dawn is Supermassive Games' unapologetic homage to things that go bump in the night. With elements of adventure game exploration, quick-time action sequences and character interaction to bridge the gap between cinematics, Until Dawn tells the tale of a group of 8 teenagers returning to the scene of tragedy a year later as a means of cathartic interlude from the exigencies of early adulthood. However, true to form, things can never be that simple. Players take control of each of the 8 kids in turn throughout the night, following their separate trials, hoping to keep them alive until morning. Though it's unabashedly neglectful of much of its context, Until Dawn expects you to focus on the here and now, and the potential consequences in the near future, rather than be encumbered by the light-hearted plot holes that it expects to be overlooked and even enjoyed. Like so many horror films, Until Dawn is more concerned with exhilaration and intrigue than narrative cogency, and it provides the former in spades. The most important instruments the game wields in this regard are its butterfly effect system, a dynamic tool for making major narrative changes, coupled with a more subtle character personalization system that is in its own right significant. These are particularly suited to the thrills of the horror genre in instilling a genuine sense of terror, not only from dread and repulsion, but from uncertainty. Whether it be the threat of brutal immediate consequence of an incorrect decision, or alienating a friend who may be unwilling to help come the inevitable onslaught. This manifests particularly well in the precarious action sequences, which are surprisingly enjoyable, where one is unsure of the potentially fatal outcomes that a single mistake could entail, imbuing each scene with the appropriate sense of complete and utter desperation. In this way, the game's introduction is indispensable. Just like so many of the films from which it draws influence, the game posits you in medias res, allowing you to play and expecting you to keep up. Not until you've experienced the brevity and brutality on offer are you really informed of the game's systems. Even then, are you still unsure to the extent that your decisions could impact your chances of survival. This degree of obfuscation is essential to the game's success. However, by openly presenting a means of altering the story, the game grants a feeling of individuality for your particular characters, and thus a heightened degree of custodianship for them, a motivation to ensure the survival of your particular incarnation of the 8 friends. The revolving cast of characters is also in itself a strength. The game does a good job of introducing each character, however cliched they may seem. The group is well portrayed, whether it be superb performances or writing, from the sloppily informal greeting message of Josh to the humorous timing of Mike. Each character is real and believable, no matter how likeable, providing a great deal of investment in their outcomes. Playing as each character keeps the action fresh by allowing you to unwind different strands of the tale until you finally tease out the mystery, as well as providing a greater variety of atmospheres, whether it be in the subtle, chilling soundtrack mingling with the harsh howling of the wind, or the fixed, ominous camera angles. Though the game doesn't supply a unique or original narrative, it does provide a varied tone between humour, curiosity and despair, while the balance of gameplay between exploration, action, discovery and character interaction feels organic. Together, these 2 elements preclude the problems that many horror games have with players fatiguing. Until Dawn also contains a framing device, which is both interesting in tailoring your fears to the game and adding a degree of depth to the mystery beyond simply finding the murderer, by instilling the feeling that there are greater forces at work against you, the player, not just the 8 friends on the mountainside. Until Dawn is not without its flaws, however. A sometimes cluttered UI and a degree of tedious revolving of items and clues, the sometimes unnecessary repetition of story between chapters, and the slightly slow start do dampen the experience somewhat, but to no great extent. The final hurdle for players is to temper their enthusiasm about what seems like the vastness of choice available. Until Dawn is so successful due to its illusion of uncertainty. And though there are plenty of mistakes to be made, the game is perhaps most successful in fooling the player into thinking that every choice is crucial. So don't be upset when the difference in subsequent playthroughs isn't quite as robust as you might expect. Until Dawn is unashamedly open about wanting to be like a horror film. Something that's by no means a bad thing, but it's what it succeeds in doing through the interactivity of its narrative, rather than its plot, is what presents one of the most compelling horror game experiences in years.